Hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to Bones Collector, and today I've got a pretty interesting video to do for you, and I'm going to do a top 10 list of plain Jane board games. And by that I mean games that just don't have much sex appeal or look appeal on the table. They're very drab, but I can't get rid of them. They're games that are in my library, and I've had them, some of them, for many years, and I don't want to get rid of them because the games themselves are beautiful. They were just underproduced at the time when they were made. And that's kind of a shame, but it's not going to change the fact that the game is still spectacular. But I want to talk about these games, and I want to take a second to show you each game and what is in the box a little bit, kind of give you a mental picture if you haven't seen these games, which I think you've probably seen quite a few of them, but if you haven't seen these games before, so you'll get an understanding of what I'm talking about. First game I want to talk about is a game called Hawaii. 2014 Hawaii came out, and it was designed by Gregory Daigle, and it is about Hawaii. But Z-Man Games published this, and it is really, I mean, the box is pretty full of stuff. I mean, the publisher did a nice job. You have these little feet that you use for traveling currency, and the game is outstanding. I had heard about it and looked into it as deeply as I could without buying it, and then I found a copy for an inexpensive price and I was able to pick it up. But the game itself is pretty nicely published. It just has a drab appearance is all. And any chance I get to talk about Hawaii, I really like to do so. It's for 2 to 5 players. It doesn't have a solo variant at all. But if you find this game at a garage sale or at a flea market or something like that, it's worth picking up. This game is very good, and I'm going to hang on to my copy of Hawaii. And I thank Gregory Daigle for making a very nice board game. This is really, you know, this is back in the day when Euro games were ugly. 2014, they were just starting to get into nice publishing. So, and it's got some wooden bits and stuff. I don't want to act like this game is, this is just kind of an honorable mention. This isn't a top 10. I just like getting a chance to talk about Hawaii because it doesn't get talked about much, but it is a fantastic board game if you get a chance to play it. It's a game that doesn't get any buzz whatsoever because, first of all, nothing old gets buzz. everything new gets buzz, and that's what they push on the big board game channels because they're getting paid to do so. But I'm not being paid at all, and so I like to take a chance to talk about Hawaii, and I think this young man, Gregory Daigle, did a very nice job designing this game. It's fun to play. The decisions that you make are very interesting, and it doesn't overstay its welcome. I don't know, there's just so much to like about this game. I don't want to get lengthy about it, but if you get a chance to play it, you can take a word from the old Bones Collector. This is a fantastic board game. That's Hawaii. Next one I want to talk about, and again, these are games that are in my library, and I'm not going to get rid of them. So there's just not much to look at, and there's not much to really appreciate as far as fancy pieces, since I've done those 2 previous top 10 videos where I talk about how beautiful those games have been published. But this is Heaven and Ale by Michael Kiesling and Andreas Schmidt, and these guys are outstanding board game designers. Of course, Michael Kiesling is my favorite board game designer of all time. He just seems to make games that click in my brain very well, and this is no exception. There is a little bit of complexity to this game. As a matter of fact, when I've got my top 100 list, I'm going to start that as soon as some of the other people on the YouTube finish theirs. But I want to do my ultimate top 100 list, and this game, of course, will be in there. It is a beautifully designed game by these 2 fellas, and it has a unique scoring mechanism in it, and that drives everything that you do in the game, and that's so special. So what happens in Heaven and Ale? You see this main board common track that you're going to travel around and take different actions according to where you are on that track. Very similar to Wonderland's War, but this game does it much better. You also have a player board where there's a lot going on, and it gets pretty complex. You have a day side and a night side, and depending on where you put those tiles, it changes the way those tiles benefit you. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful board game. First time I played it was at a convention, and I tell you guys to go to a convention and you get a chance to play someone else's library. It's probably at Dice Tower or something. And I played the game and I liked it instantly, but Lori didn't like it as much as I did. And So when we got home, I just always had it in the back of my mind. And then the next convention we went to, somebody was selling a copy on the virtual flea market. And I said, hey, get that Heaven and Nail. I want to play it some more. So we got it, and we've played it quite a bit since then. And I'm just as in love with it today as I was then. And again, it's not much to look at. As you can see, it's just underproduced. I mean, this is just what they did sometimes. This is Eggert Spiel. And this game is so fantastic. It's just a must-have for my library, and I enjoy it every time I play it. And the fact that it's been underproduced doesn't take away from the enjoyment I get playing the game. It just could be better, I guess. The game design couldn't be any better. It's outstanding. But just having a little bit more color and maybe some chunkier, thicker tiles, that kind of stuff, always makes for a better experience, I think, at the gaming table. But hey, if you haven't played Heaven and Nail, you're missing out on a fantastic board game. It is incredible. And did I mention the player count on this? It came out in 2017. 2 to 4 players, so it has no solo variant. 60 to 90 minutes. We can play this in 60 minutes. But understanding how this game scores is the secret of doing well. That's Heaven and Nail. Next game I'm going to talk about that's very plain is a game called Karuba. It was published by Haba Games, 2 to 4 players, and according to the back of the box. So Karuba came out in 2015. I thought it was older than that, but 2015, 2 to 4 players, as I said, 30 to 40 minutes. That's just a terrific time frame. And this game is designed by Hot Diggity Rudiger Dorn. I call him Hot Diggity Dorn. He's in my top 5 board game designers of all time. I love a lot of his games. Istanbul is probably the one that YouTube land or board gaming land out there would be most familiar with. Istanbul is in my top 20 games of all time. It's still just, every time I play it, it's just amazing. But let's talk about Karuba. Karuba is just kind of plain looking. Each player has a board where they're going to lay down path tiles, and each path tile has a number on it. And one player will be the person calling out like bingo, and you will take that tile. If they say 17, you got to take your tile 17 and place it on your player board. You know, wherever you want to, but you're trying to create a path from your explorers to the temples that are on your board. And the person that can do that the best is the one that's going to score the most points and win the game. But I absolutely love this game, and this was around for a few years before I ever played it. But I absolutely love Karuba. Again, Haba Games has a reputation for doing family weight games, and this one and Miyabi's probably 2 of my favorites from Haba Games. But I just love Karuba by Rudiger Dorn. It could use some color splash. As you can see, it's just so green.
Well, your board is just green.
Yeah.
So you put tiles on it. There's nothing there.
Yeah, there's just nothing really to get excited about until you play the game. Then you get very excited. But that's Karuba. I love it. All right, moving on. Next game I want to talk about, being a plain Jane, is Michael Schock's Zuleretto. Michael Schock also did Iwari, which Iwari Deluxe is a copy that I have, and that game is absolutely the opposite of this as far as looks and production and publishing. But Zuleretto was a Spiel des Jahres winner, I believe, and this is published by Z-Man Games. I just hate everything about this cover. I dislike the color palette of the pieces in the box. Everything is green, and Lori laughs because it doesn't bother her. I just dislike it.
It took me forever to convince him to let me get it.
Yeah, this game is fabulous, but it's so ugly. Oh my gosh.
I don't think it's ugly, but he sure does.
I cannot get rid of this game because the game itself is fantastic. What a great design by Michael Schock, and the puzzle that you're working on in here has to do with animals and how you place them on your
board.
On your player boards. Yeah, it's so green, and it probably looks bad on camera, but it looks worse in real life. And I just I mean, when I saw this, and then the only other game that I can think of that reminds me of, you know, being turned off by all that green is Living Forest, which coincidentally also won the Spiel des Jahres.
Yeah.
And I just can't get by all that green in that game either. But
that one didn't play as well at 2.
I think this is a better game than Living Forest. And wow, I mean, I cannot let this game go. It took Lori; she kept talking to me about it. I was like, I mean,
I found it cheaply at a flea market, or we still wouldn't own it.
Yeah, and we got it for like what, $10?
$10.
Yeah, $10. I mean, And it's so funny when you can buy a game for $10 that's a deep thinky puzzle like this, and then games that come out this year everybody's raving about, they're not near as good as Zuleretto. So if you see this game, what do we got here? 2 to 5 players, 45 minutes. I love 45-minute time frames.
It just needs to be deluxeified.
Yeah, you just
real animals would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, you could do so much with this game. It's kind of an abstract strategy game, and you just I don't know. Yeah, you could do so much with this to make it
like
so attractive. People would be going gaga over it because the game is amazing. But I don't know. This video is just about talking about the plain Jane publishing job done on some games, and Zuleretto is one that really, if they redid this game in a new, bright, wonderful package, I just don't know if the sky would be the limit for the popularity of this game. It's just so much fun to play in a 45-minute time frame. Gosh, I like that. I like thinking hard and having fun in 45 minutes. That is priceless for us. All right, that was Zuleretto by Michael Schacht. This is The Princes of Florence by Richard Ulrich, Wolfgang Kramer, and Jens Christopher Ulrich. So I imagine those two guys are related. But Wolfgang Kramer, of course, you know from Kramer and Kiesling, they've collaborated on many, many good board games. And this is one of my favorite games of all time. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't mind the cover. I think that looks pretty cool. But the game itself is just beige and drab.
This one I agree with you.
Yes,
this is a very drab game. It
is a drab looking game. But you play it and you go, wow, it did. Yeah, I forgot. It is drab. The gameplay itself, and all these games are like that. Once you play them, you're like, oh, I forgot. This game is ugly. It slips your mind because the game is so stinking good. And Princes of Florence is exactly the one thing I do want to say about this game is that it has an insert to hold everything in place, and I do appreciate that. Let me show that how that is. Yeah, so it had a nice insert to hold everything in place, even though the pieces themselves are just
blah.
Not exciting at all. And
open up the board.
But yeah, I mean, this is the type of thing you're dealing with here.
Yeah.
This is the scoreboard where you're going to be scoring, and this is
just
your player board, and it's like a polyomino thing going on right here, and this is the card combinations that you're going to have. I don't know. Yeah. The layout of this package was great. It just, they didn't put any effort into making it look pretty. And sometimes that can help, but this is a fantastic game. And there's different versions of this game. This game box says 3 to 5 players, but there are 2-player rules variants on Board Game Geek that we used them in this game, and it's excellent at 2. And just a fabulous, fabulous game, Princes of Florence. And then also, this is the Principe di Firenze, which is the Princes of Florence, and it is a deluxe package, and it does have beautiful art in it, but it's all in Italian. So we had to kind of I think we put little explanations in cards and stuff.
I put everything in sleeves.
Yeah, and it had some issues in production.
We had to throw the insert away.
Yeah, the insert was worthless that came in it.
That was nice velvety insert, and we had to toss it.
These tiles are thick and just absolutely phenomenal looking.
The board's pretty, everything.
And it came with metal money, and yeah, these are your player boards. Man, them things are thick, dude. Wow, really thick. And the board itself, so much better than what came in that original version. Yeah, just with color. And the cards themselves have beautiful art on them, which is one reason, probably the most important thing when it came to this game that I wanted to change out, just the art of the people on these cards and the thickness of the tiles. It was just a much better job. It just wasn't perfect either. But
which one would you rather play?
See, I can't make up my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I still have both of them. I like this, but it's in Italian, so that kind of throws you a little.
You get used to it after a bit.
Yeah, and
it does play 2 to 5.
Yeah, but that package, I've kept them both. I don't want to get rid of that. I don't know what it is. I like that it works well, the design of it, because is everything printed on the board in this? It must be.
Yeah.
Because you have to know those cards and what is on them in this game in order to play it well. So you have that information on your player board. Oh, it's in pictures. It's in pictures in this game. In
it is
iconography.
printed better in the other game.
Yeah.
The explanations are clearer.
It's in text in that game. In this one, it is iconography. So they employed some iconography instead of the text. I don't know.
The text would be in Italian, so it wouldn't have done us any good.
Yeah, I don't know. And that's why I have both of them. I can't make up my mind. This box is super thick, and they were giving this away, weren't they?
Yeah.
Like $25,
something like that.
Oh, yeah. But this game is absolutely fantastic, and
so that's the opposite of a plain Jane.
This is You Play It, Edizion. I don't know. It must have been published in Italy, but yeah. So that that is the opposite of plain Jane. So they went overboard with the publishing of that game because the game is fantastic, and if you can get your hands on that, it's pretty cool, that deluxe version. But the other one, again, when you play that game, and all of these games, you forget how ugly they are. That's why I still hang on to them. I don't have many that I keep that look like that. The game has to be absolutely off the charts in order to do that. And the next one I'm going to talk about is Turning Taxis. Turning Taxis, again, another Spiel des Jahres winner from 2006. And this is a route building game having to do with the post office. So it very thematic. And I really wanted to play this game, and there is an expansion for it that's kind of hard to get. But this is a very, again, minimalistic publishing job. This is Karen and Andreas Seeferth. 2 to 4 players. I don't think they did much solo.
These older games don't have solo.
Those older games just don't have solo variants. But this game has also an insert in it, so that's kind of nice. But there isn't really much. And I got these little foam pieces to hold the cards, and I sleeved the cards in this game because I'm keeping it. I love Turning Taxis. The board is kind of beigey, drab.
Couldn't get any more beige than that board.
Yeah, you know, but it has this corner up here where you have your little helper guys.
Yeah. Other
here.
than that, it's pretty drab.
But it's pretty drab. And this is Germany, because that's the beginnings of the post office system began there. And the one that we use here today in the United States, as a matter of fact. So yeah, Turning Taxis, a wonderful game. Every time I play it, I'm glad I own this game. I love it. It's an old game by Rio Grande Games. In this particular instance, this is the way they published games back in the day. They just didn't put much effort into them. But yeah, Turning Taxis, that's a fabulous game. It deserved a Spiel des Jahres in 2006. They did a fantastic job designing this game. Thank you, Karen and Andreas Seeferth. It's a fun, thematic Euro game, Turning Taxis, even if it is ugly. And the next one I'm going to talk about is a newer game from Capstone Games, who I just raved about stepping up their publishing in the last video. I forget what games I was talking about from Capstone. We have some...
Can't remember.
I can't remember, yeah. But this one is very minimalistic from Capstone Games. This is Catherine, the Cities of the Serena. And this came out just last year, 2022. It's for 2 to 4 players, 30 to 45 minutes, which I love, and it has a very unique card system in it that doesn't exist. I'd never seen it in board gaming before, and that's one reason why I wanted to seek it out, and that's one reason why it stays in my library. I really enjoy it. There's nothing in this box. I mean, it's a deck of cards and some little hotels and houses you're going to put out in your player colors, and that's it. I mean, that's all that's in this box. You're looking at it, and the board. At least this board is pretty. But I mean, for 2022, this is minimal. This is minimal stuff here. You know, that's the board.
At least it's got 3 colors on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty nice looking board, but it is rather thin. It could have been a lot thicker. But again, it's such a good game. That card mechanic is fun to work. In this game, you're going to play 2 cards. You have 2 rows of cards. One is the action row and the other is the activation row. And you're going to activate the card in the action row, but only if the card below it matches in color. Anyway, it's a very unique system. We really enjoyed it. When I saw it played, I said, yeah, I definitely want to pick that game up. And it's a lot of fun. I enjoy games that have something unique in them, and this one does. It has that unique card system in it that I've never seen in another board game. And there is a little political people
upset
over the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and they want to take it out on this board game. And you know, I have mixed feelings about it, but I'm for the people of Ukraine, you know, for what that's worth. But I love this board game and I love playing it, and I want to thank Johanna Schmidauer Koenig for designing a wonderful, fun game, and I want to thank Capstone Games for bringing it to people. But you could have done a little more to make this game attractive. But this is a Plain Jane package for the time that we are in board gaming. So it's kind of strange that they chose that. Now the next game I have is also from Capstone Games. So that's 2 in a row from them. Ouch, that's 2 strikes. And that is Rise. Rise is a 23 title by Remo Condadori and Marco Pranzo is the name of the designers. And that's the game right there on the back. That's what you're getting. And this game is spoken for because I sold it on the virtual flea market at Dice Tower Con East, which is coming up here in 4 weeks in July. And I loved this game. We both liked it, didn't we? Mm-hmm. We liked it a lot, but I'm not going to keep it because it just, I mean, it's just...
It's too plain.
It's just too... They didn't do anything to...
It's a roll and write with a board.
Dress this game up. And that's a shame because you have all these tech tracks is what this game is about. And it uses cards to determine your actions and so forth. And every one of these things is a tech track. And you're going to have a marker on this tech track and move up all these tech tracks.
Yeah. There's a whole box of tech tracks
that are going to trigger combos and combo after combo. So you're trying to weave those things together to get the best combo out of all the combos that are available to you. And that's the challenge of this game. And I like that. I like the game. You know, these things are nothing to write home about. They're not anything real big and thick. And the fact that they did nothing to make this game come alive is why I'm getting rid of it. Like, this is a science track and has a picture of a microscope. Like I said, each one of these tracks you're going to have a little stupid wooden marker.
A little cube.
Yeah,
cube
that you're going to move along here. Well, why couldn't you have made a microscope, a wooden microscope to use for there? And then there's a political board on here. Was it politics? Something like that. And it has a picture of a hat. Well, instead of a cube, why don't you make little hats? I mean, anything to dress this game up a little bit. And I can't remember some of these other boards, but this has to do with industry. And you could have made a little building to move along there. Talk about missing. This is the theater, the mask, and
entertainment, whatever.
Yeah, and you could have made something, some kind of a wooden token to move along there. You know, that was in relationship to that particular board. And this is industry too. It's got a factory. Hey, make a factory. They did nothing. Think about it. So we liked the game though. It was a really neat game, and we enjoyed playing it. But after we played it, we immediately said, nah, I've got board games that I'm in love with that I am going to keep forever, that I don't really need this game. If the publisher is not going to do anything to make you really, to drag you into the game thematically, I just, something I don't want to even keep. So we sold this game already. It's on its way out. But for those of you that have it, it's a fabulous game. I can see why people like this game. There are a couple of YouTubers, Rattle being one. Oh, this would have been in my top 10 if I had played this, blah, blah, blah. You know, and it is a good game. I'm not saying that it's not. But it's not as good as the ones I've already showed you, first of all, because I love those games. And it's not anything that, and again, this is 2023, and it just isn't, it's just like a weak ground ball to the infield pitcher. You know, I mean, it's just, they could have done a lot more to make this game inviting. The game design itself is fabulous. If you like that kind of thing, if you're that type of person that still doesn't mind dry Euro games, this is super dry in its presentation, and that's why I decided to let it go. Yeah, that's Rise. Okay, we're 3 more games to go, and this one here is called St. Petersburg. Rise is for 2 to 4 players, by the way. This game is called St. Petersburg. It's by Michael Tummelhofer. This is an engine builder using cards, and this came out in 2004 by Rio Grande Games, published in Germany. And it's in English, though. Everything's in English in this game, and I was fortunate to be able to pick this game up. A lot of people don't like the art, which I like, naturally. But this is the same size box as Carcassonne. Has paper money, which we don't really care for. But the game is fantastic using 4 decks of cards. It's a beautiful game. What's the player count on this? This is 2 to 4 players also, 45 to 60 minutes. Another reason why I like it. Yeah, there's a second version, and it adds a larger board because it has like a market on it, I think, of some sort.
It has some more added into the game.
Yeah. which we had that game.
Yep.
We had the second
The one we
edition
had first.
and got rid of that one to get this one. I like this smaller version. I like the smaller box. I like this game, the condensed part of this game. I didn't need that market speculation thing that goes on in the other version of St. Petersburg. And this is simply the board you're looking at. Yow!
It's not pretty.
That is a plain Jane board, man. That's pretty bad. This tells you, I think these are, what are these, governors or aristocrats?
Yeah.
I think these are aristocrats.
Yeah.
And this is, if however many you get, this is how many points you get for the aristocrats you acquire, which are very
Unique
expensive.
aristocrats.
Yeah, unique. Yeah, you have to be different. So you're really have some tough decisions to make when you're playing this game. And it has 4 decks of cards that do 4 unique actions. And you see these icons on here, and you have these little wooden pieces that match those, and you're going to have 2 in a 2-player game. You'll have 2, and your opponent will have 2, and whichever deck of cards that icon is on, if you have that player piece, you're going to go first. So it's just a lot of fun to play, and you're building an engine out of all these cards.
And he's really good at it.
Yeah, I love this game, and you have to manage your money very smartly in this game, and to be able to have money to spend on the next deck of cards. So it's just a wonderful design by this guy. And I don't know of anything else that he's done. I didn't look into it. I probably should have. But I know that I really love playing St. Petersburg, even though it looks a little drab and
Is this
boring.
the one where that's not really his name?
That could be. That could be. Yeah, we watched something about that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Michael Tummelhofer. Yeah, I think it is something to do. But again, people probably hate this because it's about Russia.
He's
And
Bernd Brunhofer.
Bernd-
It's who he actually is.
actually, Bert Brunhofer, okay.
He did Stone Age.
Oh, that's right. This is a designer of Stone Age, which we like.
Yeah, he just put
Yeah.
a different name on this game. I
Yeah.
forget why.
Stone Age, one of the best introductory Euro games, gateway Euro games, I guess, or whatever, family weight Euro games.
Welcoming.
Yeah, welcoming game. We had fun playing Stone Age. We don't have it anymore, but hasn't been moved in a while.
A little dusty, is
Yeah,
it?
we don't have Stone Age anymore, but we liked it when we had it. Now our go-to Euro introductory game is probably Pillars of the Earth.
Pillars of the Earth.
But
It's just like Stone Age. Just
okay,
a little
now-
more to it.
let's go to the next. Should I do them at the same time?
Number 2 and number 1. It's
Yeah,
up
number
to
2
you.
and number 1. Let's do them together. Yeah,
Both
because
Steffenfeld, both Aaliyah, both Ravensburger.
both Steffenfeld, both Aaliyah, who has a reputation of nasty publishing. I mean, everyone has made fun of this game to the point of it just being not funny anymore. and what a pitiful job they did on both these games. And it's a shame because these games are absolutely the best. And I'm spoiler alert, this is probably my number 2 game of all time. It is, I think, responsible for the growth of the board gaming hobby, this game. For a lot of growth, not the growth, but
Yeah.
for a lot of growth in the board gaming hobby.
Yeah.
Because it's very easy to pick up and learn. And I think that makes it inviting for people who hear and are interested in board games, and they hear, people have mentioned Castles of Burgundy, and maybe they pick up a copy and they can go home and read the rule book and figure out how to play this game. And that's priceless. Let me tell you, when you're talking about growing board gaming hobby as an industry, and that's pretty cool. But yeah, Leah Games just dropped everything in here, thin and nasty looking. Same with In the Year of the Dragon. This is the best survival game I've ever played, by the way. Steffenfeld's In the Year of the Dragon. It's very cool. This is the 10th anniversary thing, which is, yeah, it just goes to show you how serious Leah Games was for publishing. This is the 10th anniversary, is nothing. I mean, I included some stupid expansion of the wall or something like that. Is that what this, in the wall?
Yeah.
And every tile in here is as thin as, it's just a little thicker than a postage stamp. Yeah, so it's pretty bad. But the game, I can't get rid of it. It's just fabulous. I was hoping the City Collection that they would redo Notre Dame and In the Year of the Dragon.
So far, no.
So far, nothing about those two. Because Notre Dame, I had to sell. That one got to me. The boards themselves,
Well, you had to lay it
warp.
flat.
Yeah, they would warp, and because they were so thin gauge. And that game was fantastic, Notre Dame. I mean, I've got nothing but good things to say about that game. If they ever do another publication of that and make it worth owning, I would certainly go back out and acquire it. But In the Year of the Dragon is absolutely a fantastic survival game where you're going to see all the disasters that are going to befall you round after round at the beginning of the game. Those tiles are laid out randomly. You're going to turn them over and you're like, okay, this is what we have to do first round, this disaster. So you better be ready. In your next few moves, your opening moves in this game, you better get ready for that first disaster. Once that has passed, that round is over, you're going to prepare for the next disaster. And just taking care of your play area is a game in itself. And wow, this game is absolutely fantastic. And it's just a shame, oh my gosh, that they did this kind of thing for the Castles of Burgundy. And In the Year of the Dragon, of course, Notre Dame was another one. I mean, they did Carpe Diem, but that was a little bit better. Carpe Diem's box is packed. It's packed full of goodies, and but these are the tiles. Everything about it is just thin and. But you know what?
The Carpe Diem's not beautiful, but it does have more in it.
And this is a first edition copy of Castles of Burgundy.
Yeah.
And
there have been a couple.
And they did. Was their
haven't changed
25th?
much.
Was it 20th anniversary? What was that new package? 20
It might be.
or 25th?
They've done two of them.
They brightened up the color palette, and some people have said they like it a lot better.
But I don't think they made anything any thicker.
Yeah, and it just I thought that they didn't do as good a job as they could have with that package. And then of course Arcane Wonders got a hold of it for a Kickstarter. Now they're going over the top.
Yeah.
And that's I don't know, so I'm just hanging on to this. And you know, I told Lori, and I say this, I probably said it in other videos, when I get done playing Castles of Burgundy, not one time do I say, boy, that wasn't fun because it was poorly published. This game is fantastic, and it's just when you're playing it, you forget about the poor job they did in the publication of this game, and you just love the game. And yeah, that's why it's number 2 all time for me, Castles of Burgundy. These are my Plain Jane games. I showed you all of them, and I'm not getting rid of any of them but Rise, because I love playing every one of them, even if they're not very good looking. So listen, like and subscribe. I love every one of you. Keep on board gaming. It's the best hobby on the planet because of Plain Jane games like this that still make your heart go pitter patter, and like these games do for me. Please comment on these games. I bet you a lot of these games are in your library, and I bet you have some games that are Plain Jane in your library that you're in love with and you're not going to get rid of. Don't let anybody pressure you to get rid of games you love. Yeah, that's just goofy. If you like playing the game, keep it. Don't let somebody say, oh, well, yeah, some reviewer, that game's not very good. You know, that's his opinion. You know, you're the one that it matters to. If you like playing it, hang on to it, because that's what board gaming is all about. I'll see you next time on The Bonus Collector. Bye-bye.